Boys, if you want aura and charisma that feels magnetic to people, then you're going to want to stick to the end of this video, because today I'm going to share with you the code of the gentleman. Some of you guys have been asking a lot about, and I'm going to lay out exactly how to think and live like a gentleman to where people are always asking for more. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty, how to actually apply it to your own life, application, all of it. No words left unsaid. The era and the arc of becoming a gentleman is today. So if you want to learn how to do that for your life, be magnetic, be someone that everybody looks at with inspiration, to where people are always asking more and they want more of your attention, then you're going to want to watch this one all the way through. Let's get to it, boys. Yo, boys, we're back at it again with another video. Check out the background today. I felt like for the video today, we really needed it up a notch, because being a gentleman is probably the key to a lot of the issues you might be going through. Real talk. Being a gentleman is a lot more than being tucked in. As you can see, of course I'm tucked in like a gentleman. This is what we do. That's rule one. Rule one is you got to tuck in. But real talk, it's about everybody else. This is what being a gentleman is all about. A lot of people struggle with learning social dynamics, how to handle themselves in public settings, private settings. It's all different, right? The way that I speak with my grandfather is going to be a lot different than I speak with my boys. It's a lot different than I speak with my brothers, different from my mother, from my father. You have to have a level of awareness. But the first thing is first is it's about the other person. You do not matter as a gentleman. As funny as that sounds. It's about everybody else. It has nothing to do with us. Because that is the first step. Because once you really nail that down, a lot of this stuff is going to really come downhill for you. Truthfully. You might struggle making friends or keeping friends or just having people see you a certain way, the way that you probably want to be seen. But it's because you allow your internal ego, your internal selfishness to take over and precedence. You look at everything from your lens. There's certain things that gentlemen don't do. We don't whine, we don't brag, we don't talk about ourselves. It's not like if someone were to ask you, hey, like, how you doing? You're not like, hey, listen, don't worry about me. How are you? You could do that, actually. Kind of charming for people to hear, but my point is everything should be under the lens of everybody else. This is how I've managed to have people who genuinely always want more of my presence, more of my attention. And it's because you're giving them something that they don't get from anybody else. And why? It's because everybody else is playing this game of me, 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 me. Whining, complaining, almost leaving the person with less energy than you started out with. You know what I mean? There's some people that you talk to, and after you talk to them, like, Jesus, I feel worse. I feel like I have less energy after talking to this person. And there's some people you've probably talked to that say what? Oh, dude, you want to know something? Every time I talk to this guy, I always feel better. I always feel more energetic, more inspired, more motivated. It's just good feelings. Like, I can never get enough of this dude. Pause. You got to throw that in there. But on a very, very real note, that does not happen on accident. That happens because you're so enthralled with the other person you're speaking to or the group that you're around. If you're in a room, you have to have your finger on the pulse. What kind of people are these? If these are people you've never met before, right? Or like a new group of dudes, I'd say you're in college, right? Maybe some of you are in college, some of you guys, are professionals out in the workforce. The reason I always did well is because I always understood the temperature in a room. You don't sacrifice who you are. Your values are your values. You'll never cross them for anybody or anything. But one of my values is making sure that everyone's life is better with me inside it. Something that nobody prioritizes. Everyone is always thinking about me. Am I getting what I need to out of this? Of course, and to be honest with you, as a gentleman, that is something I've struggled with, is I give too much and I don't care to receive. And that happens because, and that's a problem, just to be completely honest, and I'm telling you based on my life and things that I've struggled with, you need to make sure it's being reciprocated, because then you have vultures, energy vultures, real life vultures, those type of things. You know what I mean? When one relationship is so far one way and it's not being received the other, you have to make sure that you have your values to be like, hey, like, I don't get taken advantage of. I'm a very kind man, but I'm not nice, right? There's a difference. Obviously, we're also nice, we're kind, we're all of it, but I'm wording it as nice because it's easy for people to think nice guys finish last. I don't agree with that. But the point is you allow people to stomp on you, and that's exactly what gentlemen don't do. You have your boundaries, you have your lines, you don't let anyone take advantage. And what's crazy is, as a gentleman, you just remove your attention when someone does something that's not favorable or disrespectful. And they're gonna wonder what the hell's going on. You don't have to do it with violence. You don't have to do it by being a fake tough guy. You don't have to do any of it. Because your energy is so enthralling and so captivating to people that they just want more of it. What did I do wrong? Honestly, this guy, when he's in my life, life is just 10 times better. But it all starts from one thing. It's about the other person. You word things in a certain way, your tone starts to fix itself. The way you deliver points begin to fix themselves because you're thinking about, how does this person receive this information the best? And human beings are sensitive. Call it what it is. Like, especially even dudes. You know, a lot of dudes like to pretend like, oh, I ain't sensitive and stuff. I'm sensitive. I'll say it myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very sensitive. But not in the ways that's like, I'm very, very thick-skinned in that way where it's like, no one's opinion takes warrant to my own opinion. But my point is, if I fuck up on something, I'm not nice to myself. I'm not sitting there being like, you know, it's okay, you know. It's like, no, we don't make mistakes twice. The gentleman beats to his own drum. But your own drum needs to make sure that your values are aligned with giving, not receiving. When you're always on the receiving end of things and thinking, what do I get out of it? You're like everybody else. There's nothing that differentiates you. Your energy is fake. It's bullshit. A lot of people tell me, oh, you're very, very authentic and, you know, you're super charismatic. All this is a fun word for, I just know what I deliver. I know what I deliver, and I know that I'm a positive force in other people's lives because I know that there's some people that I'm not good for this person. This isn't a good relationship. And I make that assumption and I trust it. And it's because I understand in my head, like, I don't think I'm giving it. I can't give this person what they need. You know what I mean? We're talking about, it could be a work relationship. It could be one with a girl. It can be one with your boys. It could be one with all of them, your family, all of it. And everyone needs something a little bit different. And it's those people, the gentlemen, that seem to figure out how you navigate through all of those things. You know, and it looks like it's easy, but at the same time, it's just because your internal thermometer is so spot on. It's why I can go into certain rooms. If I'm at a work function, I know what jokes to make. I know when to shut the fuck up, and I know when to speak up. I know when to tell this joke because I know that their humor is more aligned with this thing. I'm not going to say things that I don't think are inherently that funny, right? My point is I get more fulfillment out of adding to a room than I do out of making sure that I'm the one that's heard. Because I am always going to be heard because people want to hear my opinion because I don't care to have my opinion heard. It's a paradox. You get what I mean? Because when you say something, everyone knows like, oh, this guy, when he says something, like people listen. And it's because you're not looking for the spotlight. That's commanding attention versus demanding it, like a 4-year-old. It's people that try to talk louder so everyone hears them. Or they speak really, really fast to get a sentence in because they're worried about getting interrupted. All of those things. If someone interrupts me, that's fine, you know, but if it keeps happening over and over, you know what I mean? At that point, I'm just like, all right, this conversation ain't worth it. But you also have to understand that some people do get excited. Like they love the way you talk and they love what you're putting down, so they get excited and they can't help themselves. So they will interrupt you. But you have the understanding of all of this going down. Again, from the very, very beginning of this video, what did I say? It's about everybody else. You do not matter. It's also part of the issue with being a gentleman. I'm going to be honest with you. It is awesome in terms of the things that you can receive. Things do come a lot easier. People offer you opportunities. People think of you often. You are looked at as like, this guy's like this stuff. You know, like people have good things to say about you. Not everyone. Some people do get jealous. I'm going to be honest with you. That happens a lot. People get jealous, like, why is everyone listening to him? Or why is he? That's none of your business. You don't play games like that. That's whatever that person's feelings are towards me out of resentment, that's fine. You know, but when you're thinking of it in terms of other people all the time, this is the thing that, like, you have to give in order to receive. You have to spend in order to receive. It works with money, it works with health, it works with relationships, all of it. You have to spend in order to receive. It's so important. Everything is about everybody else. My life and the way that I carry my life, truthfully, has very little now at this point, I would say. Not in my younger years. Younger years, I was pretty selfish, I think, in that way, where it's like I need to prove myself and I still feel like I have to prove myself, but I want to prove myself in the eyes of God. This is where God is so helpful in your life, because if you look at it as like, as long as I'm doing right by Him, I'm good. That's the only thing I need. But you also have to understand that there are boundaries, right? There's certain things where it's like your values, you don't cross them over to then like, go over backwards for other people that do not deserve it or that contradict your internal thermometer. But there's a way of bridging the gap on both, and it's the fine line. But the fine line is just leaning in with this. That's it. You do right by your heart. A lot of the issues come from up here. You live too much up here. The heart, the gut, however you want to word it, that is whose hand should be on the wheel. Not your brain, your gut, your heart. That is it. And you allow it to deter you, put it over here. And a lot of people don't get social norms and stuff. But this is where you have a lot of people, and I'm not meaning to throw shade, but people that talk about like, oh, I'm a conversationalist and I always ask questions and like, yeah, obviously. But people are just sitting there like, no one wants to go through an interview process either. You can tell when someone's like trying to learn a skill for themselves. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. Like, there is no shortcutting you. Don't chase the feature, chase the actual thing. Become that guy. It's not the features of sin. They're like, so tell me how you felt about that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I have 5 questions that I ask everyone in order for them to like me. That works because most people are inherently selfish, but that's not a real relationship. I make comments. I'm listening. The best conversationalists are the ones that listen and just simply respond. If I'm not into a conversation, that's what I was talking to you guys about earlier in this video. Like, if I'm not into that, I won't pretend to be. I'll be in the conversation, kind, respectful, but like as soon as I'm out, like, all right, I know like that was a rough conversation. Like, I heart down the line. My heart opens up to people, it opens up. That's me trusting my intuition to saying that this person is a good person to have in my life. That's it. If my heart is closed, I'm trusting my instincts. This person is not good for me in my life. Versus you thinking, I need to be friends with this person. No, you don't. You don't. Life is too damn short to try to connect with people that you don't align with or whose your heart does not open up to. It's so important. It's so important. I cannot stress this enough because this is how you beat to your own drum. This is when you start making the decisions of who's good in my life. And guess what? All I'm going to say is play back tape on your own life. On your own life. Tell me the person that you were talking to, friends, whose heart you just opened up with and everything just clicked. You're not even thinking about what you're going to say before you say it. You're just enthralled in the conversation. Are those good relationships? Are those some of your favorite relationships? Absolutely. Do you think that's a coincidence? No, because not everyone is going to be your flavor. I'm not going to be everybody's flavor, even through YouTube. There are people that are come across like, fuck this dude. That's fine. Where most people are like trying to chase the thing that they don't have. A gentleman doesn't do that because he has self-respect. He has a level of pride that is healthy. People talk about pride being a sin, and I get why they say that because it's kind of intertwined into ego. But there is a difference. Pride in who you are and what you do is a good thing to have. When you're intertwined, like this is where ego starts getting in, like just because you accomplish a bunch of things doesn't mean you are owed anything in this life. A gentleman knows he ain't owed shit in this life. That's why I don't come off like a dick to anybody else. Sometimes I do. I'm not saying I don't. But I'm also being so real that it doesn't come off even as dickish. Like when you're thinking about the other person, you just understand how to word things in a way that they receive it well. Depends on what your goal is, right? When I'm sitting with my grandparents, like my grandparents on my father's side, who was very, very, very close to, they both passed away. But what I can tell you is I was 14 and my grandfather passed. But my grandmother passed away actually 14 years later. He passed when I was 14 and she passed this recent year, but I was 28. It's kind of crazy. It's 14 years apart. I don't know if that means anything. Probably some numerologist being like, technically that's a sign, I know that for a fact. But when we used to sit down and talk, like, I know I'm closer to her than I would be to, possibly my grandfather on my mom's side. And it's just because there's certain things. It doesn't mean like, oh, like because I connect more with her, I don't give my grandfather any good feelings. No, that's my mother's father. That is my grandfather. I would not be here if he wasn't here. So I always made it a point to visit or call. It works inside your own family. You might not see eye to eye with your mother right now, or your father right now, or your brothers. I can tell you for me, I used to have a problem with like everybody in my family, you know, not like a problem actually. Like we always loved each other, but we went through our problems. But then you get to a point where you become a man and it's like, it's about them. They brought me into this world. Even if, you know, some of the things they told me I didn't agree with, do I hold resentment in my heart for those things? Why would I? I am here on earth because of them. It's my obligation to take care of them. They did the best they could. There's no resentment. That's why I can walk through life feeling super light. I don't pretend things are what they aren't either. That doesn't mean I don't recognize, hey, that piece of advice is definitely not it for me. This is where people have the problem. Like they're so connected to these things, and a lot of it's weird, but it's detachment. I think being detached is a good thing. Not like emotionally detached, not in the way where it's like nothing matters, bro. But it's understanding that it doesn't matter as much as you are making it out to be. At the end of the day, you have control over your own playbook. You beat your own drum. And it's no one's damn business how you operate. Because you're operating under a standard that is truthfully undeniable. So I know for me, if I can abide by my own standard that I set very high for myself, very high, and I come in lower sometimes, I get pissed. But I know as a result of me being hard on myself, no one else is going to get it. But the gentleman does. He understands what matters and what does not. And I'm telling you this, when you look at everything in the lens of everybody else, you start getting everything that you want. Everything. Everything starts becoming effortless and it becomes easy and it's fun. That's aura. You know, that's being magnetic. Because people are like, I have never felt these feelings. That sounds a bit weird. But my point is like internally, like I mean this, they've never felt the feelings that you give them. You're the only one that can supply them with that specific feeling. And that's why sometimes when you remove your attention, it's so powerful because they're not getting that thing that they want. That doesn't mean you just start going around and doing that to people, you know, like that's where a lot of people like, they think of this so incorrectly. But I'm just someone who cares so damn much. And that's all charisma is. It's feeling, it's care. People feel like it's like he fills me up. You know, like with him in my life, like there's something about him, like he speaks with this thing that you can't fake. You just got to stop trying to fake this shit. Aura and all of those things, your vibes, all of whatever, however you want to word it for yourself. It can't be faked. It's just by becoming that guy. That's the only way of doing it properly. Not trying to pretend, not chase the features, not going for the looks maxing, not going for, oh, I just want the big biceps and then everyone will like me and look at me differently. It's all a part of it. The way I train is the way I talk to people, is the way I handle myself in a room, is the way I tell a joke. It's all the same thing. It's why I honestly, my workout style is so precise and it's like a sniper. And it's because I know that it all matters. These little things, the way you talk to someone, the way you make someone feel at home in your presence, a level of comfort that they're not used to. And it's because I go so deep into the details of the psyche. By figuring out myself, I realize everyone's the exact same. That's the funny part. Obviously, I know I'm a bit different inherently than someone else. The way I communicate might be differently than someone else. But we all want the same things. We want to feel good enough. And we want to be told that you want to know something like, I don't have to pretend around you. I could just be me. You know, like that gives people conviction. That creates leaders. By being the gentleman, you actually become the leader of leaders as a result, because it's like, oh my gosh, dude, he's speaking to a part of my heart I've never felt before. And it's just because you're enthralled with everybody and everything else. And you matter last. The mission is always number one. Always. And you lead with your heart and you lead with your gut. And I promise you, you trust your instincts on everything. And life starts to get a whole hell of a lot better and a ton easier and more fun. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it if you made it till the end, even if you didn't make it till the end. But actually, that's cap. If you didn't make it till the end, I'm not saying thank you. Screw that shit. But regardless, I love you guys very much. If there's anything you guys want specifically, please, you guys know the deal. You drop it down in the comments. If people like those comments, give those a thumbs up. And then when I don't make a video on it, talk to them like a gentleman, talking about gentleman things. Like, comment, subscribe, YouTube things, you know. Not too bad. Sunset in the background. Anyways, from Uncle Rami to the Natural Crusaders, I love you guys very much. Uncle Rami out. Peace.